Well, let me welcome you to the conversation segment of the Signature Show. I'm sure that you've been following the other segments of the program this Sunday. We've carefully brought out certain national issues for us to debate on. We also have raised hope that this country is not all about challenges. Sometimes we need to be happy. We need to be happy. We dance, we sing, we laugh. That makes so much meaning. But for us to do all this, we need security. And this afternoon, I'll be conversing with Godswill Mrakpor. Godswill Mrakpor is a lawyer based here in Abuja. Let me remind us that about 3 weeks ago, the president made this country a promise that he'll be more conscious of the federalist nature of Nigeria moving forward. Also, last week, the National Assembly threw its heart in the ring of the debate on Nigeria's security. They may ask me, how do these two things come together? That should be the part of the conversation this afternoon. Let me welcome Barrister Godswill Mrakpor, the conversation. Barrister, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. It's a privilege to be with you.
Now, you heard my opening statement that President Muhammadu Buhari, some 3 weeks back, made a promise that he will be more federalist. He will consider Nigeria's federalism going forward. Some people have argued that there's not much the president can do in the circumstance he has found himself. The Constitution seems to have provided for a centrist structure. Is there anything, are there any action steps the president can take to begin to loosen the structure and allow him to indeed operate through federalism?
Thank you once again. I'm very much inclined to align myself with the group of people that have said that there's not much that the president can do. And the reason why I'm saying this is because we operate in a constitution. We are governed by laws, written laws for that matter. The constitution claims that it is a federal constitution by nomenclature, so we can take it for that. But if you look at the constitution, is it really a federal constitution as it says? Now, what I say that President Buhari don't really have much to do in the circumstance that once anything is written down in a law, it's not much that somebody can do except the law is changed. If President Buhari tries to do something that is contrary to the Nigerian constitution, where he will find himself is probably the scenario that Mr. Donald Trump is finding himself in America now, because it will be clear that he is doing something contrary to the constitution. Now, coming to the question that you asked in terms of the constitution, whether it's actually a problem, whether it's a centrist system claiming to be a federal system. Yes, the constitution is actually a centrist or centralized system of government claiming to be a federal system of government. And why do I say this? The powers of the federation, the constitution itemized 100 powers of the federation, and they are found in part 2, the second schedule of the constitution. The 100 powers itemized in the constitution. Out of those 100 powers, 68 items are given to the federal government under the national exclusive list. They call it the exclusive list. While 29 is given to the 36 state government and the FCT for them to share among themselves. 29 items of the federal powers. And then you have 3 in the supplementary list. You have an exclusive list, a concurrent list, and a supplementary list. That's the way the Constitution distributed the power. Because don't forget that when you're talking about a federal system, you're talking about a system whereby power is shared among different organs of government, the central government and the regional government. But in the Nigerian case, like I'm telling you, 68 items in no power is out of 100. So yes, 68% has been given to the federal government under the constitution, under the exclusive list. The remaining 29 were given to the state as a concurrent list. As a concurrent list. Now, that is where the problem is. I don't have a problem with the distribution of the power of the federation, the 100 powers of the federation, where the federal takes 68 and maybe the central, the other regional government is supposed to take 29 and then 3 for this supplement. I don't have problem with the distribution. The problem, where the problem is with the power over the power.
Can I understand that?
Yes. What I mean by power over the powers, like I said, there are 100 powers in the Constitution, 68 in the exclusive list. Nobody can go there. Only the federal government can go there. Now, there is a concurrent list which have 29 items. That
overlapping.
Is overlapping. So what that means, what it means concurrent is that the state can go there, the federal can go there. So it's supposed, that is where the state is supposed to be exercising their power, inside that 29 items in those lists. Now the problem with it is that that power that was given to the state by the Constitution in the second schedule was already taken away by Section 4.
And given to the federal.
And given to the federal government. What that Section 4, Subsection 2 says is that where there is a conflict between a law made by the federal government and the state government, in that 29 items, federal government will prevail. So what that tells you is that federal government can make a law among the 100 items in the Constitution. Federal government can make a law in 97 of them. Only 3 are the areas where they say, okay, state can do anything. And where are the 3? Offenses, to create offense, maybe punishment for offense. State can do anything they want with that. The making of rules of court to regulate the judiciary, the state judiciary, they can do that. And then the third one, land, which in essence is actually empty land, because all the resources in the land have been taken away before they now vest the land in the governor of the state to distribute to the state. So just to wrap up that point,
yes,
it is the power over the power. Who can exercise power over those 100 powers? The federal government as it is now has taken over 97 of them. So what we need in terms of moving forward, we don't need a supplementary list. Right now we have exclusive list, concurrent list, and supplementary list in the Constitution. We don't need supplementary list. What we need, what I would recommend is we need 2 exclusive lists. We need exclusive lists for the federal government, whatever they want to do, national defense, international relations, all of that, exclusively, nobody can go there. We need exclusive list for the regional government. Then we need another concurrent list because they must be overlapping. So that's where the concurrent list. So we don't need supplementary list. We need exclusive, concurrent. If they do that, you will now find out that there is going to be a significant change because the governors, as we are today, maybe in the course of conversation, I will tell you more about the security powers of the governors. They will be much more empowered. And with that power, it is power that they need to be able to deliver what they
and only the Constitution can give them that
power.
Let us help the president.
Yes.
That's a very patriotic proposition he's making, to try to run the Nigerian Federation as a federation.
That's right.
But are there certain action steps he needs to initiate on the Constitution, specifics, to enable him disentangle himself from this constriction by the Constitution so that he can run a federal Nigeria? Yes. Certain action steps.
Yeah, action steps that he can take will be significant legislative agenda. He needs to come up with a significant legislative agenda that will not only traverse the legislative areas of our law, but also go into the Constitution. Just like I said, these 100 powers that are in the Constitution. He needs to come up with a deliberate step to be able to rearrange these powers.
Let's look at the deliberate step. Is it a kind of a bill to the National Assembly asking for certain amendments in the Constitution?
Sure.
Will it require that?
If you require that, that's the starting point. Because like I said, we are governed by laws. And everything we do has to be within the laws. If you do anything that is contrary to law, you'll be setting up yourself for more trouble. So we cannot operate outside what the confines of the law say. I will be the last person to recommend that. So it is the laws that have to be tinkered with, you understand, before we can even think of maybe operating a federal system. The Constitution, as it is structured, is unitary because of those powers that I told you.
Given to the federal.
So what he can do, the first thing he can do is to give up those powers, especially the ones that has to do with the economic realities of the regions. Right now, the states, or how I want to put it, they are just there. They don't generate any revenue because there's no competition among them. If you go to other countries, there's competition among regions. You see this region bringing their own, this one is bringing their own. That's how, and then the federal government will say, okay, you bring, this is your tax, this is your tax. It's competition, but we don't have that. What we have is just sharing in this federal system, what they call federal system, which is not even federal system. In the proper federal system, the state governors are not supposed to be sending their commissioners or coming here every month ending to collect allocation. Rather, they should be the ones sending allocation to the center. Yes, from the resources that they make. So they need to work on that. I think the people, maybe they are afraid of, probably, if people are economically empowered, they can become unruly and uncontrollable. But I think that is not a very good excuse to begin to maintain the status quo.
You know that there has been this raging conversation on Nigeria's security architecture. Let's get a little bit to the genesis of the debate. The 6 southwest states, looking at their own security challenges, decided to initiate what I've called Amotekun. Amotekun is a kind of a security collaboration among the 6 states. But that Amotekun security initiative has generated so much heat and so much debate. The Minister of Justice, Attorney General, although he has said that he was not properly represented in the reports, but the statement issued from his office did query the legality of Amotekun. And he cited certain sections of the Constitution which confer the authority to manage Nigerian defense on the federal government. The governors have met with the vice president and they issued a statement to the effect that they were going back to the legislatures to enact laws that will make Amotekun legally justifiable. Look at the Constitution. Is Amotekun a constitutional infraction? And if the states make laws establishing Amotekun, can it cure it of that injury of being a constitutional infraction, if it is one?
Thank you. Let me just go straight to the point. Amotekun is not a constitutional infraction.
Why?
Amotekun is actually a product of the Constitution. Amotekun, if I may put it that way, is created by Section 33, subsection 2A and B of the Constitution. That section created the right to self-defense. If I understand Amotekun, you know, there are so many versions going on. If I understand it correctly, it is the people of the region taking a step to defend themselves. That power to defend yourself has been given by the Constitution, Section 33, subsection 2, subsection A and B. Give you the right to defend yourself, and you can, in the process of defending yourself or your property, take the life of a human being. It will not be an offense if you kill a human being in the course of defending yourself or your property or the property of another person or the life of another person that is being about to be unlawfully taken away. They are only, the Constitution says you can only take the life of a person after that person has been convicted by a law of God of a criminal offense. Anything outside that, nobody has the right to take the life of another human being. So if the other human being whose life is being threatened decides to take action to defend himself, that power is given by him by the Constitution. It's power of self-defense. So anybody that is saying that Amotekun is an infraction of the Constitution will have to first of all confront that section of the Constitution, which is the power, it gives me the power of self-defense. And as a matter of fact, the Constitution have no choice but to give that power. It's a natural right. It's an instinctive right, which, without being told, if even as we are talking, conversing here, if I make a move, an offensive move that threatens you, you will naturally, reflectively want to defend yourself. Even without thinking, if I try to maybe strike you with a blow, your first reaction, your instinct reaction is to defend yourself. So it's a natural instinct. And it is not even voluntary. If you want to defend yourself, sometimes your defending yourself might be involuntary. So if you look at it from even that perspective, Amotekun is a reaction to reality. Nobody can deny the fact that there's a lot of insecurity in this country. Look at how many beautiful souls, Nigerian souls that we have lost. Look at how many people, the kidnapping, the killings, and all of that. And nobody is being convicted. Nobody's been arrested. If as they are killing, we are arresting them, we can say, okay, deploy. So you can see that the security situation that we find ourselves is almost overwhelming our security forces. Now, it is not new. We are a country of about 200 million people, and we are talking of a police force of less than 500,000. So you can see that there's no way that police will be able to, we can be able to get enough police to man the security needs of the society. It has even common law in England. They experienced it long ago that it is not realistic for a state to be able to finance the police that will effectively man the population. So it is only natural that the government must fall back to the people. In common law in England, there's what they call the citizen's arrest. It's a right of a citizen who is not even a policeman to arrest anybody who is in the course of committing an offense. So there's nothing wrong with that. Citizens can arrest, but the only thing you can't detain. Once you arrest, you hand over to the police, who is the law enforcement agent. So if you look at it from that perspective, Amotekun is an action. The government, clearly they are overwhelmed, and it is only natural, you know, that they will be overwhelmed with the onslaught of the insecurity we find ourselves in the country. So I think Amotekun is just a reaction which is born out of the right to self-defense. A man has right to defend himself. Now, having said that, any law that the state government, the state government, they don't have power to make any law on security in Nigeria. Good. Any law that they make will be a nullity. They don't need to make any law because, like I said, Section 33 of the Constitution already
provides for self-defense.
For self-defense for Amotekun, already provides for Amotekun. So they don't need any other law because they don't even have power to make law. That goes to my first issue I raised. The power has been given to the federal government. The issue of security is item 45 of the exclusive list. Item 45 is under the exclusive list. It's within the 68 powers. Yes. Item 45 gives the power to make police and to provide security on the exclusive list. So only the National Assembly can make law on security. The state government, they don't have power to make law. Any law they make will be a nullity because even the item is not on the concurrent list. If it were even on the concurrent list where they can make laws, federal government could override that power. But now it's even on the exclusive list. So you should not even try to even think of making any law to back Amotekun. Amotekun is already there, backed by the Constitution. Section 33 of the Constitution will get the right of self-defense. And the issue is that the threat that generated the creation of Amotekun, is it a realistic threat? There's no doubt about that. There's a threat already. People are afraid to travel. I'm afraid to go to my village. A lot of my friends say they are afraid to go to their village. Most of the villages, in those days when we were growing up, those villages, people are afraid to go there because they say they are evil forest. You have serious spirits inside those spirits. But now they have been taken over by bandits and criminals, criminals and kidnappers. And it's not just restricted to one ethnic group. I have to make that clear. Because you see, people take advantage of situation. Then I say, okay, this ethnic group are responsible for this. You see criminals, the real criminals, they will take advantage of it. So there's a threat. So anything anybody does to defend himself cannot be a violation of
justified within the
Constitution. But where the problem is this. Item 2 of those powers that I tell you, item 2 of the exclusive list talks of arms and ammunition.
Okay.
Because Constitution says you can defend yourself using proportional force. If I try to attack you with my fist, you should defend yourself with your fist. Not that I'm attacking you with my fist, you are coming with a knife. That is disproportional force. You cannot be covered by Section 33. It's the kind of threat that is coming that you are allowed to use. So if a person is coming with you with a knife, you are allowed to defend yourself with a knife. If he's coming with a stick, you can defend yourself with a stick. Now, these criminals are going about with sophisticated weapons.
AK-47, right?
AK-47. So, based on that power given by Section 33, you have a right to defend yourself with AK-47.
No, let me interject here.
Okay.
But that same Constitution does not allow you, does not permit the state to buy arms.
That's what I'm coming to. You have a right to defend yourself with AK-47. But that's where the problem is. Because like I said, the item 2, which is the arms and ammunition, have been given to the state government.
To the federal government.
To the federal government, thank you. Now, that power, part of that power is now in the Firearms Act. That Firearms Act creates 3 categories of firearms. The sophisticated firearms, the one that they use, the military use, and Then we have the intermediary ones, like the AK, the ones the police use, the rifles and the automatic guns and all of that, which AK-47 and all of that. And then you have the lower category, the Dane gun, like the hunters they use. Now, for the like you could be given license to own any of these weapons, but for the first category, only the president can issue a license. The middle category, which is the general category, the Inspector General of Police is the one that can issue a license to own anything like an automatic rifle or that. And then the other one, the Dane gun, is the governor of the state that will give you consent, working with the IG of police, of course, to own a Dane gun and all of that. So, if you look at it now, let's look at Amotekun from that perspective of power to bear arms, because we're talking about defending yourself and power to bear arms. The Constitution says you can defend yourself with proportionate threat. I mean, proportionate measure that is equal to proportional to the threat. Right. Now, this man is coming with sophisticated weapon. The governors that won't put in Amotekun together, they have the power to issue license for Dane guns and those lower level guns. So they can organize Amotekun under the right of self-defense, give them Dane guns under their power, under the Firearms Act. But that's where they can, that's how far they can go. They cannot go and begin to empower people and give them automatic rifles, because if they do that, they would have breached the Firearms Act if they don't have the license from the Inspector General of Police. And if they're going for higher weapons, they would have breached if they don't have the license from the President and Commander-in-Chief. So you see that that's where the constraints are, because the Constitution says firearms, ammunition, only the federal government can handle that stuff. So they need the permission of the federal government to be able to, moving forward, to be able to
going beyond the Dane gun
caliber. But if it's the Dane gun, the hunter's gun caliber, they can organize themselves in self-defense. There's nothing that says that we cannot organize ourselves in self-defense. It happens. If you go to the village, when there's a threat from another community to another community, people can gather themselves and defend themselves. It is constitutional. It is natural. You can't do anything about that.
Godswill, there's another segment of the Nigerian government that has weighed in on this matter, and that's the legislature. The National Assembly last week, Wednesday, debated for hours on end the security challenges facing Nigeria, and a number of recommendations were floated on the floor of the Senate. Some people recommended state police. Others recommended community police. Others backed the Amotekun kind of initiative, regional police. We've conversed on the Amotekun matter. But now that the National Assembly has thrown its hat into the ring and is bringing up a number of models, can these models come into effect without a constitutional amendment?
It's not possible. If you look at section 214 of the Constitution, it says that there shall be in Nigeria a police force, which shall be called the Nigerian Police Force, and no other police force shall be established. So, if you take it from that, that's the Constitution itself. Because like I said, the right to life, which is also the right to self-defense given by the Constitution. Now, the Constitution is now trimming down those powers, because these things will have implication on the life. But the police force, it says, only the Nigerian police force can be established. And even the section 227 of the Constitution goes further to say that you cannot form any association that where you train, equip people to be able to exercise violence or coercion, but it now qualifies it for the purpose of pushing a political agenda. So Amotekun is not pushing a political agenda. Amotekun is pushing a self-defense security agenda. But you see, Amotekun again has to be very careful the way they operate, because you see the powers have been taken, like I said. So they have a very tightrope operation that with scope within which they operate. Because if they operate like a police force, they will now have breached
violating the Constitution.
Section 214, because we say that there can be only one police force. As a matter of fact, even some people have argued that this civil defense is also an infraction, because the Constitution says it didn't create civil defense. The Constitution says only one police force. So if civil defense behave in a way that they now begin to carry themselves out like policemen, they would have been breaking the law. So their own law is very limited. The same thing with the Amotekun. They can do their, like I said, their powers arise from the powers of right to self-defense, citizens arrest. If you see a person committing an offense, it's natural that you can arrest the person. You don't have to say, let me wait for police to come. So those are the powers under which Amotekun can exist. It doesn't need any other thing to do.
In other words, also, Godswill, these recommendations being floated on the floor of the National Assembly, pardon my language, they could all amount to political hogwash, because for them to effect some of these models, there's need for them to amend the Constitution.
There's need for them to amend the Constitution. They cannot just the section 214 that says only one police force. You need to be able to amend that before you can create. That's why I said Amotekun, they need to be able to be careful, because if, for example, they set up Amotekun in such a way that they now have powers to be able to do police duties, which is policing, prosecution, detention. Detention. That's where the problem may be: detention and prosecution, because anything like arrest, prevention of crime, and all of that, they can come under the umbrella of self-defense. But when you now say detain somebody, maybe you now keep somebody, you need to torture people, you want to get information from people, that is, you are already crossing the line. So without an amendment, if the Amotekun begin to go into police duties, it will be illegal. But if it is confined within the duties of self-defense, defending my community, defending my people, a lot of people have been killed, and nobody, I mean, if it is within that confine, it is fine. So without an amendment of the Constitution, for example, in the area of the distribution of the powers, they need to be able to tinker with item 2, item 45 of the exclusive list, and probably put it in the concurrent list that I recommended. Because I said 2 exclusive lists, one for the center, one for the region, and a concurrent list. They can put security, that item 45, in the new concurrent list. So state and federal can operate within that area, legislate on security and policing and all of that. It is not a new arrangement. They have it in the US. You have the FBI, which is in charge of the whole of the US, the CIA in charge of intelligence. You have the state police, New York Police Department, California Police Department. If you go abroad, we see them every day. You see all different states, they have their own police. They have their boundaries, how they work. So the National Assembly, if they are really serious, they are the one, the answer lies with them. Let them think, let them restructure the Constitution so that we can have all these arrangements. These things can be legalized, but it should be within the confines of law. Because the fear, which of course you cannot overrule that fear of some of our brothers in the north, is that this thing is going to be used, it's going to be politicized, or I don't know how they put it. So they need to be able to put checks. The federal government can exercise its might. Instead of dabbling into everything, let him just be performing oversight function and check these people the way they are using the power. It happens. When you see offense committed in New York State and maybe they are in New Jersey, before you know it, FBI can come and say, everybody hands up. This is federal. Then everybody will hands up. So they can do that kind of arrangement here. There's an offense in Ogun State. It's traversing to Ondo State. Federal can come and say, okay, everybody hands up. It will help the police. This is why I say that. Number one, if you look at the budget of the police, the police is highly underfunded in this country. I have a friend who is a DP of a police station. He said his station, he has 15,000 naira to run his station. 15,000 naira is not up to $50. It's not even enough for an officer of the police in New York to buy lunch. And that's what they want to use to run a police station. They will use it to fuel their cars. They will use it to patrol the neighborhood, to watch crime. They will use it to, all police. So the police is grossly underfunded. In fact, they are performing miracle. I have to be honest with you. The police are there now, with what they are doing now, they are performing miracle. They are already operating on miracle level with the kind of money that they have. So with this kind of arrangement, it will help them, because the money that they have now, it then means they will keep it to themselves and their work will be reduced. Because instead of stretching them out into all the hinterlands and all of that, let the Amotekun be taking charge of the criminal activities in those areas. Police will just be in their station and be watching. Okay, Amotekun, you've caught these people, bring them in. And I think if the state government want to probably be serious with this arrangement, they should embrace technology. It's not just giving them gun or chance, which is okay, they can do anything they want to, but you embrace technology. There's nothing wrong they're coming with Amotekun. Let the Amotekun officer, let them wear body cam. Let every volunteer for Amotekun wear body cam. Body cam is a very cheap technology, they can buy it. It will record everything so that there will be no abuses. Because you now see people now say in the name of Amotekun, they begin to do all sorts, which is not supposed to be. So okay. They can put them under that kind of surveillance.
My producer has raised his hand twice. You know that this program will accommodate so many other issues in one edition.
That's right.
And we thought that this particular issue needs to be addressed so that the conversation can move from point of information and knowledge instead of political hate.
That's right.
Emotions and suspicion. Well, that's where we stop in this segment of this program for this Sunday. Do not forget that the conversation never ends. For today, we've looked at the legislature throwing its hat into the ring in the matter of Amoteku and restructuring of Nigeria's security. We've also looked at the president's promise to be more federalist. You can see that they dovetail one into the other. If we can operate a true federalism, make some amendments in our laws, we can accommodate a number of these models of security arrangement that members of legislature are recommending. But for now, there's so much of legal fine-tuning to be done. I'm not a lawyer. We've heard from a lawyer. And on your behalf, let me thank Godswill Mrakpor for coming to the conversation today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
So my name remains Mwaboys in Joko. Can we please continue the conversation next Sunday? Good afternoon.